Okay, so let's talk about water heaters and let's talk about the new mandates with water heaters. Um, so, Ringles, when did this all come out as far as water heaters?
It was April of 2015. The Department of Energy, they put into new regulations basically saying that the water heaters efficiency rating has to be a lot higher than what the existing ones were. Um, so basically what it does is it has a larger, a more insulation value in the inside the water heater itself. Some of them have PVC venting on them, like we talked about with the high efficiency furnaces. They use a PVC flue on those, which needs to be vented outside. So people that live in condos and apartment buildings and stuff like that, that their water heater is kind of tucked into a closet, they need to really think about what they have to do when it comes to time, comes time to change it out. Because these new systems, the new machines themselves are a little bit larger as far as width goes, about 2 inches. They're about 2 inches taller as well. Um, Plus, a new code requirement is that if there's a piece of machinery in the way of that device, that other piece of machinery that would need to be moved in order to get the other machine out, they don't allow that anymore. So we basically would have to potentially open up a wall to allow for access to both machines. So if we needed to pull the furnace out, we wouldn't have to move the water heater, or if we had to move the water heater out, we wouldn't have to move the furnace. Um, so there's a lot of things that people really need to think about. So number one priority is to, take a look at the date of when your water heater was installed, and then take a look at the warranty on that water heater. If it's a 8 or 10 year warranty, then the machines usually last between 8 and 10 years. They kind of run right around the area of when the warranty runs up. So you kind of want to plan ahead. So if you're getting close to that year when you think your water heater might be on its way out, you might want to start thinking about logistics as far as if I can get the new style water heater in this space, or what are my other options really.
So, as a homeowner, is it worthwhile having a professional come out, examine the situation, and kind of give you your options?
Absolutely. Our plumbers can come out. Any of our Cranney Value Plan members know that our plumbers will come out and do a flush of your water heater, and then they can give you an idea as to how old the water heater is and the potential of when they might need to change it out. Plus, they can give them pricing options on all the different varieties of water heaters. Or if it came down to it and they wanted to explore other options, we could bring a comfort consultant in, and they can talk about some other options as well.
So, if there's some silver lining in all of this, it's that no matter what, you're getting a higher efficiency unit with these newer systems.
Yeah, you're definitely getting higher efficiency. The insulation value is much higher. So some of these, the newer water heaters, they lose about a half a degree per hour. So you could basically heat that body of water up to your set point, and then over a full day it might not run again because it's only losing about a half a degree per hour. So it's not really very inefficient. It's definitely a lot more efficient.
And so, actually, speaking of efficiency, let's transition to tankless water heaters, which is a growing product and a very hot in demand product right now.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing as far as what they're capable of. There are multiple different varieties. There is just a standard tankless water heater. I mean, a standard tankless water heater that's just doing domestic hot water, and then there would be a combination boiler slash domestic hot water. So it would be used to heat your house and to heat your domestic hot. They don't have a big tank of water in them, so it's not using a ton of energy to heat up 40 or 50 gallons of water. Once that water heater senses flow on your hot faucet, once you turn your hot faucet on, that the tankless will sense flow via the burner, and then continuously provide a constant stream of whatever temperature set point your water is. If you set it at 120, you could turn your hot water faucet on and get 120 degrees all day. You could take a 1 hour shower, still have 120 degrees coming out of the faucet. The only downside to those is that if you have multiple bathrooms, multiple fixtures, then the machine won't really be able to keep up with that. You can stack them. You can put multiple tankless water heaters into a home if you needed to. to accommodate the amount of faucets. And another thing that people need to think about when they're doing tankless is if they've upgraded their bathrooms or their kitchens, they need to pay attention to the flow of that faucet. A lot of these tankless water heaters require a half a gallon per minute flow in order to heat that water. Some of the new lab faucets, the bathroom faucets, they've derated them down to about a quarter of a gallon per minute flow. So you turn that hot water on, you wouldn't get new hot water out of the tankless. So you really need to do a little research, and our comfort advisors would definitely be happy to go over how they operate. But they're a really good option for a one or two bathroom house, a single bedroom condo or apartment. They'll keep up with it all day.
And so you mentioned they work with boilers. Is that the only heating system that they work with, the tankless?
Well, the tankless boiler itself, we have a lot of a combination tankless and boiler. We have a lot of options. You could use that boiler to heat your baseboards if you have baseboards in your house, or if you had a standard heat pump or something. If any of these different options, you could put a hydrocoil onto a furnace, so you could actually use a hot water coil to heat your space, depending on the outdoor air temp and depending on which one would be more efficient. Or if you had a standard cooling unit, you could put a hydrocoil on that as well and use that for heating. And a lot of people are going that way because some of these tankless water heaters and these combination tankless and boilers are running up into the 99% or 100% efficient, which is amazing. So every penny that you put into heating that water is being put into the water, and virtually zero is going out the chimney. So there's a lot of benefits, a lot of positive benefits to putting in a tankless. But again, you really need to do a little bit of research on it, and our comfort consultants can teach you a little bit about it. But you just want to make sure that it's the right fit for what you have at your home.
And with today's topic being on how to save money, whether it's return on your investment or long-term utility savings, what better than 99%, even 100% efficient systems?
Right.
That's unbelievable.
It's huge, yep. And if you wanted to heat your home with it too, you're running 98, 99% efficient to heat the home. It's a great little system. We do a bunch of different ones from Navien, we do Bosch, we do Buderus, Alpine, pretty much any brand that's out there. We can price it out, and then that would give it a little bit, a few better options for the customer to choose which one fits their budget.
And as the technicians and comfort advisors come in, is there certain brands that work with certain situations? Is that why we would choose one brand over the other?
Yeah, and it all depends on the customer's budget as well. There are some really good machines out there that are very inexpensive, and there's some very good machines out there that are very expensive. And there are pros and cons to each one of those machines as well. But we can go over all those. When we're sitting down at the table, we can kind of toss around some options and see what the customer feels is the best fit for their house and their budget.
Now, speaking of house and budget, a big product that, of course, is a part of the Cranney crew is their heating systems.
Yep.
Whether it's furnaces, boilers, heat pumps, these are all products that we install. Now, let's talk about, the different types of systems and the efficiencies of each system.
Sure. You have a standard gas-fired furnace or propane-fired furnace, and then you have your higher efficiency furnaces that go up into the 90 to 98% efficiency range. Those are the ones that have the PVC flues like we talked about last month. And then there's also some ductless systems that we can use to either use as supplemental heat for if you have a boiler system, we could put some ductless units in. So on those in-between days, you can run the ductless heat pump to heat your home instead of turning your boiler on and trying to heat those other zones like crazy. The other options that you have are the higher efficiency boilers up to that 98 or 100% efficient that can do your domestic hot water and do your space heating as well, or radiant flooring. And the Department of Energy also put out a thing recently. They haven't totally approved it yet, but they're really pushing to have the standard efficiency for furnaces to be at 92% or better for furnaces over 55,000 BTUs. So again, people with condos and apartment buildings and stuff like that, they're going to need to really think about this stuff before they um, start exploring their options as far as new heating systems, because they're going to have to find out where they can vent the flues, the PVC flues, if they can go out the side of the building, or there's a lot of things that might be coming up with these standards that the Department of Energy is putting out.
And if the Department of Energy is putting out, that could potentially affect how Mass Save would grant certain funding, right?
Oh, absolutely, and and even with Mass Save, they need to have a specific efficiency on their furnaces or boilers. Like on a steam boiler, for instance, they wouldn't get any type of rebates because a steam boiler is not super efficient, and they don't have anything up into that 90% efficiency range right now. They're still running in the 85 to 87% efficient range.
So let's just identify the difference between a furnace and a boiler, because I know that our call center, one of the best trained in the industry, still battles with identifying with people whether they have a furnace or a boiler. So what exactly is the difference, and how could someone, a homeowner, tell the difference?
Yeah, the way I try to put it to a customer is if you're heating up water, it's a boiler. You're potentially trying to boil water. With a furnace, it's just a warm air furnace blowing through ducts, blowing through vents. A boiler, you would usually have either baseboard heat or radiators or radiant floors. But a lot of a lot of people in the old school train of thought, they just think a boiler is a furnace, and that's what they say. Hey, my furnace is down, and so our customer service reps need to really hammer it down and say, okay, do you have water flowing through pipes and baseboards, or do you have air blowing out of vents? And that pretty much hammers it down. Once we get that, if they say we have vents, then we know it's forced hot air, furnace. If it's forced hot water, boiler. Anything with water is a boiler.
And so with heat pumps, that technology is similar to that of air conditioning in a sense?
Absolutely. A heat pump is a reverse cycle of an air conditioner. In the summertime, when you walk outside to your air conditioner and you put your hand over that fan, it's going to be blowing super hot air. If we reverse the cycle, inside it's going to be blowing super hot air. Outside it's going to be blowing super cold air. It's the exact opposite of heating and cooling. So, and it's just by way of a reversing valve. There would be electric strip heat on there, because once the temperature starts to drop outside, the outdoor coil would start to frost up a little bit. After it frosts up enough, the machine itself senses it, and it'll switch it back over into air conditioning to help defrost that coil, to get that coil outside warm again, and it'll kick on electric heat inside the house to continue heating the house while it's trying to defrost itself. I'm a big fan of heat pumps. The efficiency has come up tremendously over the past few years. We have some up to 25 SEER, which is an amazing energy efficiency rating. And they're good down to below zero temperatures, which back 5-10 years ago, the machines were just barely doing anything good under 20 degrees. They start to kind of struggle a little bit when the outdoor air temp drops, because they just freeze up so quick.
And these ductless units, those are a form of a heat pump, correct?
Yeah, you can get ductless units in straight cooling or in heat pumps. I always recommend going with the heat pump on a ductless machine, just because it gives you that versatility of those in-between days when it's 50 degrees outside, and you don't want to turn your boiler on to heat your house up 2 degrees. You just kick the ductless on and bring the temperature up nice and smooth, and they try to maintain temperature within 1 degree. So if it's a semi-cool day out and you kick it on, and it's going to try to maintain exactly. If you keep it at 70, it should be between 69 and 71 degrees. They're unbelievably efficient. They're super quiet, and yeah, I have nothing bad to say about ductlesses. We do a bunch of different brands, from Mitsubishi, which is the #1 brand probably in the world, and then we do some Lennox ductless machines, and we actually just picked up another line of Bosch ductless machines, which runs on the exact same technology as Mitsubishi, and the price point's a lot cheaper, which is just because of Bosch's buying power. They could buy millions of these machines, and they can sell them for a little bit cheaper. But Bosch is coming a long way in their ductless machines and their heat